Hey guys, back with another Echoing Thoughts podcast here, episode number 101. And we're going to review the patch notes a little bit 1 week post March update. And there's a few things that really stood out to me that I really enjoyed. And then we're going to talk about Erel, my Erel update 2 months in, where I'm at, what my gear is like, and just some of the things that I've learned because playing a new class, not really being fully geared, sort of an alt for me, but for a lot of people, it's sort of where they're at right now in the game, and I think it gave me a good perspective on some things that are different at this level of gear compared to the end game, right? I've talked a lot about like what the end game is, but it seems like there's some things, some different routes that you can take when it comes to flames, when it comes to gearing, when it comes to souls, when it comes to just um, a lot of different priorities that have changed. And so I think that it's important for me to kind of talk about that and just how much I'm enjoying this mid game, how different it is. And it's definitely giving me a different perspective and love, I guess, for the process because this is sort of the first time where I don't have a character that's not capping. My Demon Slayer, my Paladin obviously is capping, but my Demon Slayer, even without buffs, caps pretty easily. So, and my Arrow is not the case. So there's some things that I think a lot of people can take away from this, and that I've learned that hopefully helps you guys in your guys' journey and progress. That's different than what I've been sharing and showcasing at the highest level previously. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is practice mode, and you can see kind of in all the bosses. Um, Looks like starting from Lotus on, single and multi actually. So they all have all these practice modes, right? So be careful of this. Make sure you're going to the right one. But it's pretty sweet. So I actually went in with the Will team this past week. So before you go in, you want to make sure that you are in your bossing preset. It's very strange. I would hop on my mount as well, just to be safe. Your buffs don't proc because once you get in there, practice mode, it actually doesn't. You're not able to toggle through to switch to your right preset. Next, you want to go through your practice settings. I already have it set up. Make sure that you have your PE, your potions set appropriately. Make sure you have all of these. Be realistic with this, right? Don't just throw everything on it. Use what you're actually going to use. We didn't use boss rush because we're not always going to boss rush. And it just shows you what you have available, right? So make sure you have all this set up. Once you set it up once, it should be good here. And then do all your invites and things like that. And I actually can proc that. Okay, so I proc my skills here, which is fine. And it has all these things set. So the nice thing is once you get in, right? And I honestly tell everyone to go in solo, but obviously teams, it's made for teams to practice without using buffs. But it's cool that you still can, especially in Will or in Gloom even, you can get pretty far and test out a lot of things because they have this option to, so my boss proc there, to reduce the HP, okay? So essentially what you can do is, even if you don't have the DPS required, you can actually reduce the HP, and it says who reduced it and things like that, so that we can actually get to the test. Now I can take this test and take it as normal. And you have to, unfortunately, you have to do this for Will to get through, pass the test, and then you can reduce it again. So it's nice, you can reduce it immediately here, and you can hit the test within this next check mark at 58. So, okay, and then you can get to phase 2. And then you can go through the test again. So it's kind of nice. Like, I can just reduce this all the way down, stun it. And if you just want to practice the test, here it is. Look how fast it is. Stay. Ah, and I failed. So, but you can endlessly pretty much practice this test here. don't actually fail test, it's much faster. So like 512, you can actually get to the next test pretty quickly. So like 10 seconds in, look, I'm already taking the test here. So if you do things right, you actually can get a lot of practice here without spending too much time. So it's nice. Just make sure I get to this, pass this test. Okay, and then just reduce HP there just to make sure you get to the next phase. Don't try to DPS it if you're going solo, and then you can get to phase 3. Now, phase 3, solo, not really much benefit here, but phase 1 and phase 2 definitely for the test is huge benefit. And then obviously in team settings, you can practice certain things, like which is really nice because if you ever done real bossing, done real will, like the worst thing is getting to phase 3 after 15 minutes, 14 minutes, and then failing and after doing it all again. So at least practice mode gives you that opportunity to get to like the parts that you're struggling with without reusing buffs and without, you know, spending too much time kind of grinding it out, right? So huge value in this, in Damien, in Gloom, in even in Archon with team settings, just anything, right? Whether you're solo or you're a team, there's huge value for this. So I think it's a great added feature and for future bosses to come. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, which I think is probably my favorite part of this event that I think everyone is going to benefit from, is this haste buff event right here. If you guys get this to level 4, it's actually insane amounts of EXP, party EXP across the board, account bound. So, and this is my favorite part, to be honest, a daily task and daily hunt EXP up to 150%. Actually insane. So I wanted to kind of share a little bit about how much EXP I get at each level to see what benefits you guys the most, which route you guys want to take. I mean, personally, I think that if you can do this on as many ults as possible on a daily basis, you definitely want to take advantage of this during this time. So you can see the event here, 10 billion at level 201. So I'm currently 87.87%. So if I just do 2 daily, so that takes about 1 minute, 3% at level 201, right? I don't think I did daily hunt here, but let's just say again 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. What am I doing? 2. So 4 times, so 20 bill essentially from doing all your daily hunts, which is equivalent to doing this, right? So if you do 4 out of your 6 daily, so that's 9% right there at level 201 combined, just from doing 5 daily hunts or all your daily hunts and just 2 of your daily task. 3% plus 6%, 9% at level 201 is honestly massive, right? And I kind of did it on alt as well. So 180 level 186 is 1.9%. Guys, 11% at level 186 just from doing 2. So this takes this is literally guild participation and like a daily hunt or elite dungeon for that takes 1 minute. 1 minute you can get 11% at level 186 is, I mean, you got to do it. You got to do it. I mean, the more the merrier, but just, and then level 179. So I have 5%, 4.89%. 4.89, 20% at level 179. And then I did all my daily hunts here. So 25% here. Guys, that's at level 179. 72%. If I did my daily quest here, if I did 4, if I did another one right here, a level a day at level 179 plus. I'm actually gonna go back and do that right now. That's actually insane. So about, let's say it's about 15 minutes to do 5 daily hunts, or do all your daily hunts, right? Do 4 out of 6. So that's daily hunt and dimension invasion on top of it. And if you want to do your daily quest, say 15, 20 minutes, you'll get a level per alt. So basically 3 levels an hour at level 180. So just do it all day. 24 hours times 3, 75 levels. Just from doing this. Easy peasy. Right? And this is at level 179. I mean, I did it on my Demon Avenger here, level 159. And you can just imagine, right? You can just imagine the possibilities at 6.78%. Let's see. I already took that. 6.87%. 4 of them, 68%. Okay, so 60% just from that. So easy. One level. Over one level at level 160. Oh, now I can get the daily. Perfect. And while I'm at it, let's just take another 24%. And again, if you haven't done the blockbuster, this is the prime time. Level 160 here. Wait. Sweep. Sweep. Level 161 and 72%. Let's get my hyperstat here. I don't really know what's good here, but I'm just going to do another shield. And look, by the time I did all that, I already finished my daily hunts. Or my daily quest. I mean, it's just, the possibilities are endless, right? I just gained 3% there from 59 to 162. Crazy. And level 128. So let's see, 50%. So 72% there just from that. Another level there. I mean, guys, just insane, right? Take advantage of it where you can, whatever you think is the best for your situation. To like, I'm always looking at check marks, right? Trying to get all my alts to level 150 for the extra combat power for my Legion, right? And then I like to go to 175 so I can get the legendary elite dungeon powders, legendary powders from elite dungeons, and then obviously getting to 200, right? So whatever works for you guys, but just the possibilities are endless. You got to take advantage of this haste buff, especially at level 4. This right here is where the insane levels are. EXP is. You got to take advantage of it. Do as much as you can. 6 out of 6 if you can do it. Like, yeah, crazy. This is insane. All right, so I want to finish this podcast off by doing just a little bit Erel update. 2 months in, what my thoughts are, where my gear is at, my progress. I've done all the bossing up to the highest, Archon, Will, everything like that, and feel very like I'm still learning the class, right? I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means. I was just going through fog training today and looking at how things work, different skill rotations, different things that maybe I could do to help min max the class even better. And kind of what I found out is that Erel, like I I would say I know Demon Slayer, Paladin, Demon Slayer, Erel, kind of in that order. Those are my 3 mains that I always base warriors off of, any DPS off of really. Um, and I would say that right now it feels like Paladin number 1 by quite a bit, a big margin. Um, Not a big margin, but in a decent margin. Noticeable, right? From like, because of the way the burst the Erel's burst and Paladin's burst are actually pretty similar, right? And our like battle analysis charts are pretty similar, right? So it's like very peak burst heavy, where we have one huge hold down skill that does about 30% of the damage, right? So this is what a Paladin's chart looks like most of the time. Um, but there's a small difference in damage that is very interesting to me for Erel that I'm still trying to decide if it's has the potential that I thought it did, or if it's, you know, A tier versus S tier. Um, and so it's the way that these two skills sort of proc off of everything. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Erel, we have three main skills that we active skills. So it's this is our Spear of Lu, which is our main skill, right? It's kind of the just the filler. I call it the filler, right? The thing that you hold down. And then we have two Rowan skills, Fury of Rowan, which is about, let's see, let's say Fury of Ruin and Sting of Ruin. Okay, so hit count is 64. Hit count here is 9, but it's enhanced, right? So it's basically 64 lines. Okay, so these do the exact same amount of lines. 64 target count 22%. 64, 9, 20%. So treat them exactly the same, right? These are our three main skills. So my presets are basically, I got two. Spear of Lug, probably butchering that, but I call it Spear of Lug, as its own preset here, or its own skill here, and then this preset, this blue P, is all three of them combined. And the way that I kind of treat it is that sometimes I don't like these two skills, the Rowan skills, actually hit pretty hard. So 64 lines, but there's a V skill, Eternal Guardian, that doubles the hit count. So it reduces the cooldown of these two skills to 10 seconds. And then whenever you cast these two skills and Destruction, it's going to cast it alongside of you. So doubling the hit count. So 64 times 2, 128. So each attack is 128 lines. So we kind of want to use them at the right times, get maximum value out of it. That's why I sort of put them in its own preset here. And then I added Spear of Lug just in case I want to just, you know, just so I'm not, when I'm spamming this skill, I don't like get lost in other things and am not attacking, right? So it's kind of just a filler skill, like I call it, right? So that's what I do here. And so, like I said, all the three skills surround a lot of the damage comes off of these three skills. So Sentinel Rise is based off of attacking with Fear of Ruin, Sting of Ruin, Destruction of Ruin. Any Ruin skill, it's going to summon Sentinels, okay? That just do passive damage, that attack alongside. And then Eternal Light, which is another passive, but it's based off of casting Spear of Lug, where every 10 seconds, it has a reactivation cooldown of 10 seconds, where as long as you're casting Spear of Lug, every 10 seconds, 48 hit count, max attack twice, and it's also going to do 64 hit counts immediately, right? So that is where these damaging skills come from. Kind of confusing, right? But essentially, Eternal Light is the initial damage plus those Sentinels that are spawned, and then Call to Sentinel is based off of Sentinel Rise is basically based off of Sentinel Rise, and what we have another is Order to Sentinel, but it's basically the same thing, right? Basically, whenever you cast these Rowan skills, it's going to summon Sentinels to do passive damage. Sentinel Rise is just a boosted version of it, right? It's kind of additional. So keep more lines, more attacks, also gives you final damage, and it's 60 seconds on, 60 seconds off. So with that being said, right, the line count isn't great, but I think it offsets by having all of these clones or sentinels that are summoned they're they can possibly hit cap max damage, right? Full 100% damage, 100 mil cap, 100 mil lines, right? Versus like paladins have clone lines that are 90% and even lower. A lot of classes have that, so it kind of balances out that way. But that's why I thought Erel would be pretty strong. Now I think the downside to Erel and their damage is that it doesn't. All of these passive lines don't pair nicely with Defense Smash 4, which is um, very which is a huge differentiator between certain classes. It seems to be very valuable, especially in Covert, where you can time your big hard hitting skills with Defense Smash 4 in that 15-second window, right? Think of classes like Ice Lightning Mages, think of classes like Phantoms, um, or even Paladins with their, all their bursts. If they can condense it into the Defense Smash 4 15-second window, obviously the lines are going to hit extremely, extremely hard, higher cap potential, higher damage potential, right? So that's where average damage comes into play. So that's why I think, like, let's see, Gloom. Like, there's potential there, right? Destruction, 6,000 lines, all hitting cap. This is technically about the same as Paladin's um, Grand Guardian skill, their huge burst. It's in a shorter window, which is pretty interesting, and it's an iframe, okay? During the cast time. All of these potentially should be not equal because of Defense Smash 4, but it should be high, right? So I think there's potential there with Erel. I do think that based on what I've compared to my Demon Slayer and my Erel, the numbers are about the same, but my Erel actually has more room to grow because I'm not capping a lot of these small lines. Like these lines can get stronger, these min lines. So I think there's potential there for the Erel to be actually better than Demon Slayer DPS wise. I think where the Demon Slayer has the advantage compared to Erel is that they have a little bit more survivability. They have their own passive heals. They have a on demand 50% heal off of 30-second cooldown. They just feel a little bit more tanky. They have a little bit more damage reduction, I think, as well built in. And Erel's, not gonna lie, feels more on the Dawn Warrior side of tankiness, where they have iframes, they have options to use like any other warrior with impenetrable skin, um, with their they also have an iframe, a 60-second iframe, kind of similar to Darksight, 8 seconds on but 60-second cooldown, so it's pretty frequent. But it still needs a little bit more support than I would say like a Demon Slayer or definitely as a Paladin. So it's sort of that middle ground. I think it's very strong. I think it's has potential, and honestly, I still think that uh, there's still you need a few things to go. Need more, few more levels to actually see the full potential of the Erel. Um, so I'm excited to see where it is. I still enjoy the gameplay. I don't think that the rotation is that um, difficult, right? I kind of did a lot of tests back and forth about, whether you just spam the preset or if you should hold these Rowan skills to pair with DS4. I've kind of learned that because these Rowan skills, again, proc, like Sentinels, calling the Sentinels, and um, like it's not just like waiting to pair with DS4 sacrifices a lot of damage, not through just through the Rowan skills, but through the passive as well. So I think just preset it, set it and forget it is probably the most consistent way than trying to do too much with it and pair everything with DS4, Defense Smash 4. Over time, it's going to balance out, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, I think it's very similar to Paladin as a playstyle. Just I would say currently right now, based off 2 months, right? It's only been 2 months of and being level 232 with 40 mil cap, it's just a tier below Paladin, and I think it's a tier above Demon Slayer in terms of DPS. And mobbing, very very good in my opinion. I really enjoy the mobbing. Like you can see all these sentinels kind of just wiping stuff out, right? When the cooldowns are up, it actually does kind of a lot of damage, and it does a lot of kills in general. right? Better than, why does it keep doing this? It's annoying. I would say Paladins maybe it's a little bit better than Paladins, I think, depending on the map and sorts, but it's definitely better than Demon Slayer. May not be better than Dawn War and things like that, but it seems like all these place down skills, summon skills seem to be in a very good spot when it comes to doing mobbing, killing mobs right now. So that's sort of my 2 month takeaway. Here's my gear update. If you haven't followed through the stream or anything like that, I moved over my paladin gear 2 pieces, right? So 2 level 60s. My cap got up to 46. I actually reduced it a little bit. And I think my issue right now is like that I don't have enough crit damage here to actually cap my lines, right? Which is something that I'll talk about in a little bit about how this mid game 40 mil cap range of not having, you know, and finished gear. Like this is like I'm missing obviously crit damage from the hat. Like compared to this. This is obviously this emblem is needs work. This emblem needs work. Even if it's boss attack, that adds up, right? Like I still have level 4 emblems here. I think this is level 5. Like not much CD, right? Not much crit damage. I'm currently EXP build as well, which I think is totally fine because I need the physical attack, I need the stats. HP is fine. But yeah, still I think just the base stats in general are pretty low, lacking, that I think there's room to grow. So yeah, the gear just quickly crit damage 11%, defense times 2, the pots level 5, potentials. Got to get the Star Force up as well. Star Force is actually pretty huge. I want the physical attack here. So one of the things that I was talking about was I actually have a defense ignore rate one here with boss attack, HP potentials as well. But I went with the physical attack, 1600 physical attack, EXP soul, EXP here, just because I needed the extra stats. This is probably better once I start capping, but right now I chose to do this, right? It actually gives me 3-set bonus, which is something. This potentials are insane, but this needs to be updated at least, crit damage. And this is just straight one line defense ignore rate, HP, EXP build, and this belt is main. So very good. Then you guys saw this 1100, 1400 from the flames, double EXP, 1000, and then just gloom ring, pretty solid. So what I like about this current state in my game is that I'm actually focusing really heavily on stats right now. So like this set bonus is actually huge for me. I think I just need the Damien. Yeah. And then I'll get another 800 cap and a lot of these stats. So 2-set only. Yeah. So that was my gear. I got an Android, EXP, final damage, so pretty good. But oh, this is my training gear. Nothing crazy, but with the event right now, I'm actually EXP is actually cranking. I think I'm at 350%. Yeah, 350%, 100% of the time. So it's pretty nice. Making gains there, but what I like about this mid game right now, I was talking about earlier about how I'm not capping, even full buff, which is actually insane. I didn't think this was like still relevant, but I'm so far removed from this reality that um, I didn't know until I know, right? So a lot of these lines should be hitting way harder. Just truthfully, my cap is 46 mil. Even without defense smash 4, my ignored defense is probably is 20, let's see, 23%. So yeah, I should be hitting, if I was capping all these lines, they should be in the 20s easily. So I definitely have room to grow here where all of this damage is going to add up. 20 bill damage here, 20 bill damage here, 20 bill damage here over time. That's huge, right? That's huge. So I definitely think it's funny that I'm going through this right now, but it makes me realize that, which is why I actually re-rolled. I had cap here, and mag souls were cheap, and I just kind of re-rolled it to 15%. I initially had physical damage, cap, boss attack, whatever, right? So I'm sort of stuck in this weird place about gear that is different than what I'm used to, right? But I think it's very important for me to kind of be transparent about this, where my end game stats and priorities is much different than kind of here, right? And if you're not planning on getting to like the 100 mil cap or whatever, right? You're minimizing spending. Um, Stats are still valuable, right? So like my Demon Slayer has 500 mil cap clean. How? I don't know. Still trying to figure that out how the difference is there. But this is where things like decent stats come in, right? Decent combat order, speed infusion, even advanced busing. It adds up, right? This is decent combat order is 12% or 9% physical damage. Actually huge, right? Decent speed infusion. What is this, 12%? 9% plus 3.4%. Huge, right? And so this is where I'm still figuring it out how to progress and excited that it's not just all cap for me. It's not just all ignoring me defense for me. I actually have to make decisions on gear. Like I said, flames. I chose physical attack over ignoring me defense and boss attack and the HP. Like I mentioned before, I used to say EXP wasn't that great or HP isn't that important, but in some bossing, a lot of bossing it is, right? You still want to hit a certain threshold. Like in Gloom, you need HP to survive. But it's not like I'm sort of not prioritizing, like here, for example, I'm not prioritizing, what is that, 8%, 11k, 222k HP, 11k HP for whatever the HP loss, 45k versus like 2k. Like I'm still choosing 2k physical attack over HP because I need the stats, right? So I think it's still pretty cool to see, like, even though I'm trying to min max like potentials here, right? I'm trying to min max. I can improve emblems here. Everything adds up. Everything adds up, and I'm kind of excited to see how it goes, right? Like how much. I'm going back to the damage calculator. I'm seeing how much 10% crit damage is going to matter. How much 20%? Should I do, should I do cap versus, should I do this soul versus the max damage cap soul? Should I start doing boss attack emblems, like boss attack souls, sorry, versus EXP souls, right? Min maxing, and it's fun. It's exciting. Like boss rush actually has an impact on PRs and damage. So I think it's just kind of eye opening to me that there's still like, and also kind of confusing how my Demon Slayer has so much more percent stats. Like just things like M labels, M pets, guild skills, right? Individual guild skills. I'm going boss attack here versus like cap. All this, it kind of all adds up, right? And that's why I'm excited to see like just getting an extra symbol, right? Getting to 235 and getting that extra symbol is gonna make I'm actually gonna see results from that. And so I'm having a lot of fun on the Erel right now compared to my Demon Slayer, even compared to my Paladin, because their the progress they're hit is the progress that they're hit. Like it's just cap and ignoring me defense for them. For the Erel, it's endless possibilities. So I think like for my next route, right? Kind of people are wondering what should I do? Right? What is my next progress? Right? I have let's say give or take, you know, just under 400k, 400% crit damage, 140, you know, all this stuff, right? So my first thing is, right, just levels. Get to 235, get this extra symbol here, and let's say I get an extra 1,000 physical attack because I have a symbol waiting, right? I have Sphero waiting. So extra 1,000 physical attack, right? And then I'm going to try and improve my hat. Get a crit damage hat. So I know there's some stuff in Trade Station that I've been looking at, but like these ones, right? This is, and I'm just looking, right? Just peeking, you know, just peeking what kind of gains I could make. Max damage cap, HP, like crit damage, all these things that are available, and how it's gonna be better than this, right? I'm looking at, you know, trying to Absolab this glove so I can get this 2-set bonus. Physical damage, physical attack, HP, right? Those are stats that add up. So there's a few routes that I'm like, those are a few things, right? Try to get a Necro hat, replace this hat, or a shoulders. Shoulders, the reason why I mean, shoot, shoulders may be the play, honestly, because if I change my hat, I actually get a lot of crit damage here and crit damage emblem. So it's not actually, it's still good, but maybe doing this is better, right? If I can get flames that are decent physical attack, I can change these potentials to physical damage percent. That'd be huge, right? I could get like 5%. Say I get boss attack emblem, even 10% boss attack, 7% boss attack, or crit damage, even better. Then I could change this possibly to a boss attack soul. This is tough. This is gonna be tough to leave because it's really only gaining, because first of all, this potential is insane, and I like the speed, but it really only benefit through the crit damage, right? It would take a lot to change this, whereas the shoulders, if I just change this, it improves. If I just change this, it improves. If I just change this, it improves. And this as well, right? It's kind of a toss-up, but there's gear to be made, projects to be had, and I'm excited for it, right? Maybe I get a Damien drop, and I get the face mask, right? Maybe I get the the Magnus badge. Then I'll get a few stats here from 4-set, right? Boss attack, crit damage, and then maybe I can play around with whatever, right? That'd be a 3-set, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it 6-set or 5-set? 6-set. So I'm probably missing the this badge, necklace, pocket. Oh, the Dawn pendant. Oh yeah, Dawn pendant. I could do that as well. So I kind of have primal. That's right. I got primals here. I got the resources here. I'm sort of hoping for the drop, right? I'm not in a rush to get it, but the Dawn pendant would actually be huge. Already a quest. Because it's actually pretty solid, right? 2.5 physical damage, defense ignore rate, 4-set bonus, a lot of gains to be had, and then I can get the potential legendary. So that's kind of the point, right? I have options. I'm excited for the Erel and what I can do in this state, how I can improve the gear because I'm not capping. So I'm excited. Can't wait to kind of showcase the update. I should get to 235 maybe within the next week and a half. It's actually been slowing down a lot. I'm kind of worried actually if I'm gonna get to 250 in the next 3 months. 6 levels, 18 levels by 6 levels a month is pretty sweaty. I'm not gonna lie, 6 levels a month. So I'm sort of expecting an EXP curve bonus up to 400%. I'm expecting a lot more party XP, maybe mag potions, things like that they're gonna drop because they've been pushing hard on the XP. They've been trying to get people to get to 250 to hit 6 job, and if an arrow can't get there from release, it's pretty disappointing. I think that's a failure on their part because it's exclusive class, right? You want to get players, you want to showcase this uh, sixth job of the arrow. So excited for the progress, excited to showcase the gear, to see where how my damage improves. You guys definitely want to see the gameplays of the arrow in bossing. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. All right, that's the end of the podcast, episode 101. A lot of great stuff from this event that I think a lot of people have enjoyed already or taken advantage of. And if you haven't, you have to. The Haste Burning event is here for the next 3-4 weeks to the next patch. So definitely want to take advantage of it. Get those levels for those legions, those alts, whether it's your main as well. Take advantage of it. I'm excited to showcase the arrow. More content. Definitely like, subscribe here to YouTube. I appreciate it. Follow on Discord for updates on when, anything. Ask questions there, and then tune into the stream. I appreciate all the people that are tuning in and joining the conversation. The community is growing, and excited to just kind of keep it going. New bosses, new content, new skills. There's gonna be a lot of fun things in the stream this year in the next few months. So definitely want to stick around and see that and check that out. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time.